Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that you're all doing well. So today I'm going to be taking you through more of a beginner-based workout. So this is great for those who are maybe just starting out in their Pilates journey, or even for those who are looking to go back to more of the fundamentals to help build on their current practice. Either way, it'll be a little bit more slow paced, a little bit calmer, but hopefully you'll still get a good workout. So if you're good to go, all you need are your lovely selves and a mat. And if you're ready, come and lie straight down on your back. So let's bring ourselves down onto our backs. Feet flat on the mat, knees bent. Now your feet want to be about the distance of your hip bones in your pelvis, so not too wide. And then the arms are just down to the side of the body, palms down. So it should be a fairly comfortable position for you, and your spine just kind of falls into a placement that's comfortable and natural for you. Now we're just going to spend a couple of minutes just bringing a little bit of awareness into the posture, and you might sort of find that you're making some small changes within the body. And these are kind of things you want to try and maintain throughout your exercises. So let's start at the top of the body. Imagine you've got a piece of string just coming out of the tip of your head, and you want to imagine that piece of string is gently pulling you towards the wall behind you. This is to help create length in your spine. From there, take a nice deep breath in. As you exhale, just try and soften the back of the shoulders down towards your mat. So you don't have to force it, you're just trying to encourage a little bit of openness in the collarbone and chest area. Now this can be helped if you gently press the palms and the back of your triceps down into your mat. This will help you to open out a little bit more. Take another deep breath in, and this time as you breathe out, try and soften the back of your ribs just down towards the mat, as if it feels heavy. So what that will do is just hopefully help to stop the rib cage from sticking out and just give you a little bit more connection into the abdominals. Finally, I just want you to gently press your bum down into the mat. Not so much that your back arches off the bed, so you don't want to overarch that lower back, but just enough so that you find a little connection into maybe the glutes and the tops of your legs. From here, bring that awareness now into the breathing. Nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now as you inhale, try and feel your rib cage expand in all directions. So if it helps, maybe place your hands on the side or the tops of your ribs. And as you breathe in, try and breathe into your hands. Open them out as wide as you can. And then as you breathe out through the mouth, try and bring the hands back together so they're almost touching. And again, deep breath in. Deep breath out. So this is to help you find more space for your lungs to expand, and that will help you to find a deeper and more connected breath. And then finally, with the breathing, we just want to find a little bit of stimulation in the core. So every time you breathe out, just gently think about pulling your belly button into the back of your body and then lifting it up as if you're trying to pull it inside your rib cage. Nothing too severe. You shouldn't feel anything shift in the body, just almost like a light pulling in and up. Now you might have made quite a few changes already, and hopefully you feel a little bit more activated and ready to move. I'm just going to start with some gentle head turns. So when you're ready, you're going to turn your head over to the right, and then you're going to bring that back to center. And then we're going to take it over to the left and back to center. We're going to take 2 more each way. And you're just going to go where it feels comfortable for you. If you find a stretch at any point and you'd like to stick there a little bit longer, that's totally fine as well. We're going to take last one each way, over to the right, into center, and last one to the left. Now we're going to take the movement down into the shoulders. We're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, draw the arms up towards the ceiling, and then reach them as far back as your shoulders allow. You might find a stretch through the fronts of the chest and the shoulders. And then inhale, bring the arms back up to the ceiling and down to the side of the body. And again, inhale. Exhale, lift. reach back and back up to the ceiling and down to the side. So now we want to try and find the stability within that. So as you take the arms up and towards the back wall, try and keep your rib cage from popping. So what we don't want to happen is the ribs to pop and the back to arch. Now I'm exaggerating here, but if you feel any of that starting to happen, either just lift the arms a little bit higher or just try and work extra hard into pulling those abdominals in and up, and that should help with stopping that rib cage from popping. Let's take 2 more here. Exhale, lift. And back. Pull the ribs down and in as best you can. Back, and hopefully on this last one you found that you've gone a little bit further than you could before. Reach up all the way back. Good. And then bring the arms back down to the side of the body. Lovely. So from here we're going to take some very gentle pelvic tilt. So this is quite a small movement. You're not really actually lifting anything off the mat, but it's to help you find more connection into the lower abdominals. So we're going to take a breath in. As you exhale, imagine you're zipping up from the very bottom of your pubic bone all the way up to your belly button. And as you zip up, you're going to pull in through the lower abdominals. And what that's going to do, if I lift my arm so you can see, it's going to flatten my back into the mat. It's going to tip my pelvis back. Now that's what you want, but you don't then want the weight to go into the lower back. So you inhale to release. So think lower abdominals pulling in and up. Lower back will flatten, but you're not aiming to press into the lower back. So there's a difference between if I said press your lower back into the mat and draw up through the lower abdominals, which connects the lower back with the mat, but it's still a very light touch. So it's almost like the start of a shoulder bridge. Just gets you into that connection. Inhale, release. Last one, little tip. And then release from there. Good. So we're going to work a little bit on pelvic stability. So aiming to help keep your hips nice and still. So if it helps, you can place your fingertips on your hip bones so you can get an idea of whether you feel your hips starting to shift from side to side or up and down or forward and back. We're going to take a breath in and we're going to start to lengthen the right leg along the floor or along your mat and down onto the floor. So if you're wearing socks, this might obviously be a little bit easier. If not, just do the best you can. Exhale, pull back in. Same thing, second side. So we inhale to lengthen the leg away. As we do, we're trying to keep the hips facing the ceiling and nice and still. And as you exhale, think about zipping up into those tummy muscles to bring the leg back in. And we're going to take 2 more each way. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lift. So if you find that you are sticking to the mat slightly, you can lift the leg a smidgy bit off the floor, lengthen the leg forwards, and then pop it down onto the mat. So it doesn't have to be a massive lift. And then pull that back in if that feels more doable. So it depends on obviously the texture of your mat or whether or not you're wearing socks. That was my knee. One more time, left side. Exhale, abdominals draw in to bring the foot back down. Good. From here, we're going to take you into some toe taps. So we're going to start with the feet on the floor and then we can progress. So you have some layering and options if you want. So this is predominantly about, again, the lower abdominals. You'll hear me talk about them a lot, so sorry about that. We're going to take a breath in. As you exhale, you want to lift your right leg up into tabletop, but what you want to avoid is arching in the back and picking up from directly into the hip flexors. Obviously they'll work because you're flexing in your hip, but we want to find a bit more connectivity into the tummy. So I like to think of it as your legs starting all the way up in your rib cage. This will help you to find a little bit more stimulation into those abdominals. Take a breath in. As you exhale, draw the abdominals in and up and try and lift that right leg off the mat into tabletop. Again, without the pelvis shifting from side to side or forward and back. Inhale, place the foot back down onto the mat, and we're going to do the same thing with the second leg. Exhale, draw the abdominals in and up. Little press into the right foot to help. Inhale, back down. And again, exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Good. Exhale, lift. Now, if this is feeling good and you're not feeling any discomfort in the lower back and you like to take it up just one little level, you're going to exhale to lift the first leg up into tabletop. Hold. Take another breath in. As you exhale, start to lift the second leg up. So that will take a little bit more effort and will require a little bit more strength into those lower abdominal muscles. You're then going to put the first foot back down towards the mat and then the second leg. And then we're going to start with the left leg first this time. So exhale, lift. Inhale. Exhale, lift the second leg. Think about really pulling into those tummy muscles. Good. Right leg comes back down. Left leg lowers. Good. One more each way. Start with the right leg first. Then the left. Good. Pop the left down. All right, last time, second side. So you'll have an indication of whether or not the hips are moving. And if you start to lower the leg, maybe the back starts to arch, or you feel your fingertips on your hip bones pulling forward. That's usually an indication that maybe the lower back's taking the load and rather than the abdominals. So if that feels like that's the case, maybe try to take it down a level and try to find that connection again. One more option for you here. We're going to bring the legs into tabletop and hold. Heels together, toes apart. We're going to go for regular toe taps. So this time we're going to inhale, we're going to tap the toe down towards the floor. Doesn't have to go all the way if it doesn't feel secure enough to do that yet. And then exhale to lift. So this time we're inhaling as we lower the leg. Exhale, pull it in and back up. 2 more each way. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. And again, you're just watching out for any feeling of discomfort in the back or anything that you're letting go in the abdominals. This is quite a tough one. We're going to lower and lift last time. And then from there, place both feet back down onto the mat. Good job, everyone. So if you're feeling a little bit like that was quite intense in the hips, just take the soles of the feet together, open the knees out to the side and just allow those hips to open slightly. It can feel quite hippie, so that's very, very normal. And hopefully it will become less so the more we start to build up strength in the core. Good. So if you bring your legs back in to semi-supine, we're going to take you into your 100. So this is typically a warm-up exercise in your Pilates. Helps to get the heart rate up, works through the whole body, really gets your breathing going. So you've got the option here. You can keep your feet flat on the floor if that feels more comfortable or if there are any lower back issues. Otherwise, if you'd like to bring a little bit more of a challenge into it this morning, you're going to bring your legs into tabletop and we want to be in a Pilates V. So basically what that looks like is a little V shape. Little V shape with your feet. So your heels are together, your toes are slightly separated, and the knees are roughly in line with the shoulders, but ideally not wider. Okay, so we want to find a little bit of control through those inner and outer thighs. Okay, and we're going to bring the arms up towards the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. We're going to take a few curl ups first. As you exhale, draw the arms down to the side and curl the head and shoulders up and over. Good. We inhale, lower the head and shoulders, arms come back up to the ceiling. Let's do this 3 more times. Exhale, chin to chest, arms reach forward and down. And inhale back up. Now, if you feel that maybe there's a lot of tension building in your neck and that seems to be what's dominating the movement, then maybe just start by keeping the head and shoulders down and focusing on the arm movements. Last one here. So you can keep the head and shoulders down as the arms move. Good. Now we're going to take 1 more repetition. We're going to curl up and we're going to hold it there, or you can leave the head and shoulders down. And then from here, we're going to start to pump the arms up and down. 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. So the idea is that you breathe in for 5 of your arm pumps and you breathe out for 5 of your arm pumps. So you breathe in, breathe out. And the idea here is that you'll bring nice strong pumps from the arms. Think from underneath your armpits. Another way I like to look at it is if you're in water, there's a feeling of resistance. So I want you to create that feeling of resistance for me here. And again, of course, you can do this with the head and shoulders down. And we usually do 10 sets of 10, so 100 altogether. Now, it being me, I'm afraid I haven't been keeping count. So We're going to say about 20 to go. If you need to rest or stop now, that's completely fine. We're going to take these last 10, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whew. Bring the feet down, head and shoulders down, and just give yourself a quick rest there. Little turn of the head from side to side. Or just to release that neck if you felt any tension starting to build there. And then from here, we're going to take you into some shoulder bridges. So this is a really nice one to connect you into the back line of the body and into obviously the abdominals. So arms come down to the side again. We're going to gently press those arms and triceps into our mat. Now remember when we were doing that pelvic lift or that pelvic tilt earlier, and I was asking you to think about zipping up your pubic bone and your lower abdominals, so it tilted your pelvis. This is going to be the same movement, except we're going to take it a little bit further. So the focus is still the same. So we take a breath in, think about your feet pressing gently into the floor. As you breathe out, like you did with the pelvic tilt, zip up the lower tummy. You'll feel the lower back connect with the mat, and then continue to create that feeling of zipping up the lower abdominals to roll your hips off the mat and then start to roll up through the spine. Now you come where's comfortable for you. If we're quite tight in the hamstrings or if we're tight in the quadriceps or hips, we might find that we don't come up very far. That's completely fine. We're going to breathe in at the top. As we exhale, we start at the top of the spine and we start to roll our way back down, bone by bone. The last thing that's going to come are the back of the hips, hopefully, and followed by your bum. And we're going to take 4 more like this. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, pull those lower abdominals in and up as if you're trying to pull them up to your face. Little press into the feet, think toes and heel. As you lift, a little squeeze into the bum. When you reach the top, take a deep breath in. Exhale, try to keep the hips up as you roll down through the top of the spine. So we're just trying to mobilize a little bit into that back. Good. 3 more like this. Now it is quite normal to find a little bit of tension or maybe a little bit of cramping in the hamstrings. If this is the case, obviously just give it time to dissipate. And then when you come back in and you're ready, really think about spreading the weight between the toes and the heels. So that should hopefully distribute the weight better so you're not just sinking into the backs of the legs. But then also again, really, really concentrate on getting the bum squeeze and that pulling in of the lower abdominals. And slowly draw your way back down. We've got 1 more, I think. At least I hope we do. Deep breath in. Exhale, last one. Pull the lower abdominals in, gently press the feet into the floor. Draw your way up through the spine. Little press into the arms at the top. And then if you notice that maybe the rib cage is starting to pop, just try and soften it back in. So like we did at the breathing at the beginning, I asked you to soften the back of the ribs down. It's the same thing here. Soften the back of the ribs down towards the mat. Give yourself that lovely scoop in those abdominals as you roll down. And then release the hips. Lovely stuff. Give the legs a little bit of a shake if you need that. So from here, we're going to go into your half roll down. So this is really good to start to find articulation in the spine. So it's a little bit like the shoulder bridge in the sense that you're finding articulation, but you're doing it from a seated position rather than a lying position. So you want to come up to seated, feet hip width apart, not too close towards you, otherwise you're going to feel that really grips in your hip flexors, but also not necessarily too far away from you either. So just a comfortable distance away from you. And your hands are going to come underneath your thighs. And let your legs relax into your hands. So if you were to let go, your leg will just go, yeah. So let the legs relax into the hands as best you can. From here, we want to open the elbows out nice and wide. What that's going to do is help to open you out through that mid-back area. And you want to start by lifting up nice and tall through the crown of the head. Now this is only going to be small because of the hands. That's completely fine. So breathe in to prepare. As you exhale, like you did with the shoulder bridge, think about pulling your lower abdominals in and up to tilt your pelvis. Start to roll back down through the spine, and you're only going to go as far as your arms extend. Now, as you can hopefully see with my spine here, I'm in a bit of a C shape. So my back isn't straight here, which is exactly what you want. Now, as you exhale next, think about pulling the tummy in and up. Crown of the head sort of reaches up and over the top of my knees as I come back in. And then once I'm back on top of my sit bones, I'm then going to straighten the spine back out. Let's go again. Exhale. Think lower abdominals, draw in and up. Pelvis is tilting backwards, so I like to think curl the tailbone under. All the way back until the arms are roughly extended. Keep the elbows lifted and wide. Next, exhale, pull the tummy in, but think about the top of your head reaching up and over the top of your knees. Once done forward, get that little stretch in, then you bring yourself back up to seated. Nice long spine. Let's take 3 more. Curl the tailbone. Toes might lift off the mat, that's completely normal. Exhale, up and over. So the idea is you basically want to try and keep your spine in that nice C shape when you're rolling up and down, so you can find that deeper abdominal connection. Head forwards, tummy back. Straighten the spine at the top. We've got 1 more. Exhale, curl the tailbone, scoop the abdominals. Inhale at the bottom. Final one, exhale, pull the tummy in nice and tight. Reach the crown of the head forwards. At the top, lengthen through the top of the head. And release. Well done. All right. So hands and knees. So if you find there are any knee issues at all, then please feel free to either like roll over your mat so it gives you a bit more cushioning. If you have any small towels or pillows that will help, you can obviously put them down. I'm obviously very lucky, I've got a nice cushion mat, so that helps. So anything that you need to support you here. So I'm going to take you into your Superman. So this is about finding stability in the body whilst we move the legs essentially. So to set yourself up, bring your hands underneath your shoulders and then your knees underneath your hips. Now to set ourselves up, we want to think then about pulling the shoulders away from the ears like this. So what that will do, you should hopefully feel a little squeeze underneath that armpit, and that's going to help you stop you from basically sinking into your shoulders so you feel more supported from the back. Then what I'd like you to do is think about lifting your belly button up into your back without then sort of rounding your spine. So if I were to balance a cup of tea or beverage of choice, whatever that might be, on your back, it should stay there. Now from here, we're just going to move the legs to start with. Just take a breath in as you exhale. With as little movement in the body as possible, slide your left leg away from you along the mat. Keep the toe contact if you can, and then use your abdominals to draw the knee back in underneath the hip line. We're again going to repeat with the second leg. So draw the leg away like you're trying to touch the wall behind you, and then pull back in. 2 more like this. Exhale. Now it can be very easy when you're focusing on moving parts of the body to forget about where you're trying to support yourself. That's very, very normal. But if you notice maybe that you're starting to sink into the shoulders, just bring that little pull away of the shoulders from the ears one last time. Good. Now, if you're happy with the slide, we'll stick with the slide. If you'd like to bring a little bit more into this, we're going to lengthen the leg away until it's extended, and then we're going to float the leg just off the mat where it's comfortable for you. Now, what you want to avoid here is sort of twisting in the hips, or what can be quite easy to do is sinking in the lower back to get the leg up. So what we don't want to think about here is range so much. What I'd like you to think about is the length. So as you're reaching the leg along the floor, try and touch the wall behind you. Keep reaching for that wall even as you lift the leg away. So that will help you to find that lovely back connection in your glutes and hamstrings without you necessarily then coming into your back. Hopefully you'll feel a lot longer in the body as well. Good, and we're going to take, after this one, we're looking to do 2 more each way. We're nearly there. So if you're feeling tired in the upper body, that's completely normal. Working really hard here. Essentially, this is full body. Exhale, lift. Inhale, draw down. Last one, second side. Woo, nearly there. and down. Last one. Beautiful. Bring everything back down. Sit yourself just back onto the heels. Give yourself a little child's pose. And if your wrists are feeling a little bit achy, which is very normal, either give them a little bit of shake, or if it helps, you can flip the wrists over like so. And this will give you a little forward back in motion. That will help to just sort of counteract that work you just did in that weight bearing. Might feel a little bit tender, but just hold for as long as you need to. And then when you're ready to move on, we'll move on. You can always pause, come back when you're ready. Good. One last little shake of those wrists. And now we're going to come down onto the side of the body. So we're going to work our side glutes here. So we're going to start lying on the left side of the body. Best way to do this is to try and line yourself up with the back of your mat. And that will help to keep your spine in a nice straight line. You want to rest on your bottom arm. Now you can do this however you feel is comfortable for you. So you can rest with the arm straight. You can bend the arm and rest it this way. If that feels more comfortable for you. I prefer to have the arm long, but of course entirely up to you. Now your bottom leg, so in this case it's going to be your left leg, is going to be directly in front of your knee in front of your hip. And then your shin is roughly in line with the front of your, or the side of your mat. So it's like a 90-degree angle. So that's just to help give you a little bit more stability and support. Your top leg is going to be long in line with the rest of your body, and we'll come back to that in a second. Now, in this position, it's very easy to feel quite comfortable and relaxed. As you can see, my waistline sort of resting onto the mat. But to make this more challenging, and to give you more of that sort of stability and that strength, what we want to do is find a lift in the waistline. So if you're lying relaxed like this, essentially you're lying with a little sort of side curve in your back, which is not something we really want to sort of promote. So what we want to find is a little lift of your ribs and your waistline, like so. Yeah. So I like to think of it as you've got a little pile of blueberries underneath your waistline right here. And we want to keep them as nice juicy blueberries, but we don't want to make them into juice. So you want to keep those blueberries nice and fresh, okay? Now this takes a lot of work in itself. You'll feel your side, your obliques basically kicking in, and you want to keep this throughout the exercise, and that's going to be the challenging thing. So if you start to feel yourself sinking back down, take a moment to pause and lift yourself back up. Now, your top hand, if you want a bit more support today, hand can rest on the mat. Otherwise, you can take it onto the hip to give you a little bit of referencing so you can keep an eye on your pelvis. Or it could give you a little bit more of a challenge because you've not got the hand to support you here. Now, from where you are, take a nice deep breath in, and your top leg, I want you to think about, again, trying to touch the wall away from you. So notice as I do this, I'm trying to touch the wall, the door that's by my foot. If I do that, you notice how I get a little bit more lift in the waistline here, but I also feel nice and long through here. So that will feel really nice for you. So hopefully if you can get that, that's great. Now we're going to start with just a leg lift and lower. We're going to take a breath in. Can you flex your top foot? And as you exhale, think about this waistline here. Exhale, lengthen the leg away to lift it up just to hip height. So it doesn't need to be massively big lift. Inhale, lower back down, and then exhale to repeat. We're going to take 4 more. And notice as I'm lifting my leg here, there's hopefully, very little sort of sinking in of my waistline. And I feel nice and secure here. So I'm working hard here, but I'm also now working much harder here. If I were to let myself sink in, then yes, the leg might go higher, but then I'm actually not working as hard into those outer glutes. So I actually burn a lot more here now already. Now, shocker, I've lost count. So let's say this next one is the last one. We're going to lift, we're going to hold, and we go for a leg swing. This is going to make things a little bit harder. So we're going to swing the leg forwards, and then we're going to take the leg back. Now, just be careful with this one. As you swing forwards, you might find that, you start to sink, or maybe the pelvis starts to tuck under, and you want to try and stop that as much as possible. So keep it small if you need to. If you do have more range, then hopefully you can try for a little bit more. I'm going to take 3 more here, but I know I can already feel my outer glutes starting to fire up, so hopefully you guys are too. Last 2. And on the last one, I want a nice big extra squeeze in that right glute as you pull the leg back, and that will help to open up the hip. Now we're going to finish this little put here with a little pulse. So instead of thinking about just trying to get the leg up and then sinking back into the rib cage, think about lengthening away again to lift, little pulse, and think of that waistline keeping you supported for 4, for 3, last 2, last 1, and release. Woo. Ooh, give that glute a little bit of a rub. Well done, team. And then we're going to come and lie down on the front before we go on to the other side. So we're going to take a little bit of extension work, nice and subtle. So hands are going to be together and you're going to rest your forehead on top of your hands like so. So hopefully this is comfortable for both of you. And then from here, I'm going to ask you to separate your legs just to about the width of your mat, or maybe a little bit wider than your hips. So if you have any lower back issues, hopefully this feels a little bit more comfortable for you. And then again, like we did earlier, you want to think about drawing the shoulders out of the ears. And again, trying to touch the wall behind you with your legs. So you're not necessarily lifting them off the mat, but with that feeling of length, you should feel like the back of your legs kick in just a little bit. Now from here, I want you to think a little bit of a squeeze in your bum, and then think about pulling again the abdominals in and up. So you're just trying to lengthen out the lower back a little bit, because it can be easy to come into the lower back here. So a little squeeze in the glutes and the tummy will help to hopefully prevent that. Of course, if you experience any back pain whilst you do this, then please feel free to skip this one out. So we're going to leave the hands down on the mat for a bit of support, so you get a bit of extra help from those arms. We'll take a breath in. As you do, think about the crown of the head lengthening forwards towards the wall in front of you as you lift the head, chest and shoulders a couple of inches off the mat. Exhale as you come back down. And we're going to take 5 more. Inhale, lengthen to lift. Exhale, lower. Now just be careful here that as you lift, you don't lead from the neck and start to look forward, because that's going to bring a bit of pressure into the back of the neck. So instead, try and keep your focus slightly forward and down, and think of that piece of string pulling you towards the wall in front of you. So that will help to keep your feeling of a lengthened spine. The last 2. And on your last one, keep thinking light into those abdominals even when you lift the body. Keep that little squeeze in the bum. And then exhale to lower. Good job. All right, so from here, we're going to come onto the second side for side glutes. So you can roll straight on over. I'm just going to swing myself around. So again, we're lining ourselves up with the back of the mat. Bottom arm is long or bent, whatever's comfortable for you. And the bottom leg is bent at that 90-degree angle. So knee in front of the hip and shin parallel to the floor. Top leg's in line with the rest of your body. And then from here, you're finding that lift in that waistline. So again, try not to let them sink down. Think in and up. Try to touch the wall with your top foot away this way to find that little bit more lift, a little bit more length. We're going to start with just those leg lifts and lowers. Breath in to prepare. Exhale, lengthen the leg to lift, just to hip height. And then inhale back down. 5 more. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Ooh, that's my knee needing to click. Sorry, team. 4 more. You'll get used to that. Lots of clicks coming from me. Last 3. In for 2. Last one, let's lift and hold. We go for that swing. So remember, keep it small to start with. It's likely to feel different on one side than the other. Squeeze the bum to pull the leg back. Keep yourself lifted in that waistline as much as you can. 5 more. Last 4. Try to keep that leg at hip height as you come forward, so try not to let it drop down, even though it might be tired, even though it might be burning. Last 3. Ooyy, starting to feel it. Last 2. Nearly there, team. 1 more to go, and then a little pulse. Ooyy, bring it back in front, in line with the body, those little pulses. So don't think about trying to kick the leg up. Just find a little bit extra lift if you can, and think about that waistline helping to keep stable. You're in for 5, in 4, in for 3, 2, 1, and release. Ooh, good job. Give the glute a little rub-a-dub-dub on that second side. Ooh. All right. So let's finish off today then. and we'll bring you onto the front of the body and we'll do some plank prep work. So we're coming back onto the hands to knees to start with. So hands back under the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. So I'm going to start with a knee hover. So this is like basically a plank with bent knees, little mini plank. So with this, you really want to think about drawing the shoulders out of the ears, and again, thinking of the abdominals lifting in and up. Now, if you have a little pressure in the wrist or it feels uncomfortable, you can take this down to the forearms. It's still very much doable. Just bear in mind, it's easy to kind of arch in the back here. So you've got to work a little harder into keeping that back nice and long. So if you want to take it down to the forearms, you absolutely can. We take a breath in from here, your toes are tucked under. As you exhale, think about your abdominals pulling you up whilst your arms are drawing down into the mat. So exhale, pull the tummy in and up. The knees just float a couple of inches off the mat. Hold for your exhale, however long that is. And then inhale, return and reset. Breathe in, exhale, and again. Think down through the arms, but lift through the abdominals. Inhale, lower. Can we take 4 more? Exhale. Hold. Inhale down. Last 3. Now keep thinking shoulders out of the ears. It's really easy to sink into the shoulders here, team, so stay strong. Even if you can't stay up for your whole breath, do the absolute best you can. 1 more to go after this. Deep breath in. Exhale, lift the knees and pause. Hold for 3, 2 if you can, 1. Knees come down and sit yourself back onto your heels. Good, let's reach the arms forwards. Find your child's pose. Good. I lie. Let's actually do one more exercise. Let's throw something else in there just to finish. A nice stretch. So it's called spine stretch forwards. So this is to help to open you out in your mid back. So it can be quite easy to feel quite tight in this area of the back. So this is a really nice way of opening yourself up. So you want to sit with your legs out in front of you. I'd say about the width of your mat, so wider than your hips. Now the priority is your spine. So if you find that with the legs straight, you're kind of sinking into that lower back, I know I definitely can sometimes, then slightly soften your knees. This will also help to relax your hip flexors just a little bit. Feet are flexed and think heels digging into the mat. And then think about trying to lift up nice and tall through the crown of the head. Hair's in my mic, sorry. Bring the arms in front of the shoulders. And imagine you're pressing your palms and arms down onto a hard surface. Now, as you press down through the arms, you'll find the squeeze under here, but I then want you to think tall through the top of the head. So press down to lift up. From here, we take an exhale. You're going to reach your fingertips forward, chin to chest. You're going to curl the spine forwards for me, as far as you feel comfortable, and pause. Now, to really get into the stretch here, whilst you're reaching forward through the fingertips, think about your belly button being pulled out the back of your body. Really open out into that back and scoop. It should feel really nice in the back of the body here. Inhale, hold, and then exhale to restack. Nice and tall, lift tall through the crown of the head, sorry. So press the palms and arms down, use that to lift through the crown of the head. Exhale, think fingertips, chin to chest, reaching forwards. As you're reaching forwards, think belly button being pulled out the back of your body. Find that two-way pull. Breathe into your back. Exhale, restack. Good, let's take 3 more. Press down to lift up. Exhale, chin to chest. Forward through the fingertips. Reach back through the abdominals. And restack. Nearly there, last 2. Really scoop. Almost think of it like a seated, almost a little bit like a seated cat stretch. Last one for luck. Chin to chest. Forward through the fingertips. Really reach out through the back of the body. And then restack from here. Bring yourself in. Good. Bring the legs together. Come and lie down on your back. Into the starting position that we had when we were first starting the class. Arms down to the side. Back of the head resting into the mat, feet heavy. And just take a couple of deep breaths here. Exhale. Hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a little rock from side to side. And then from there, little circles of the legs. And then round to the other way. Good. Legs come back down, nice and long. Take a stretch, arms and legs out. Let the ribs pop, let the back arch slightly. Really reach through those fingers and toes. And then bring yourself down and in. And that's you done. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I hope that you got something out of this class and that you enjoyed yourself and you feel like you had a little bit of work. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to message me, leave any comments. If you liked what you saw, then please feel free to subscribe. That would be amazing. And hopefully see you again soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.